Hello, everyone. I'm very happy to co-host this with Ryle. And now we'd like to hear from our chief guest for the evening, Mr. Ted Okon. Ted Okon is a nationally recognized expert on the policy and politics of cancer care. Ted has testified before Congress in the United States on similar issues and is frequently on Capitol Hill discussing the U.S.'s cancer care delivery system. We are so very honored and touched to have you here with us, Ted. We have a few questions for you, and the first question that we have for you, Ted, is that what was your first impression of reading Dr. Patel's book?
Well, before I tell you that, Sunita, I have to just applaud you. That was a beautiful performance, and thank you so much for sharing your skills.
Thank you.
If you noticed, when everybody was described of where they are, I wasn't, there was no city in front of Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania is a state in the U.S. And the reason why is because I am on vacation or holiday, as you would say, in the backwoods of northeastern Pennsylvania. I'm trying to hide out. And that involves getting away from politics and cancer. So when I realized that my dear, not only a colleague, but my dear friend Kashyap Patel, that I needed to read his book, which was about cancer, I said, grudgingly, okay, I'm going to make sure I read this because I have to do this. And I have to tell you, and I mean this with all sincerity and honesty, the book was just so revealing. It was gripping. It really made me sit back and reflect upon my own life, my own personal journey, my thoughts about life, my thoughts about death, and I was really taken aback. And I did tell Kashyap the other day, I said, I'm saying this in as sincerely as I possibly can. It really, truly is a brilliant book. Kashyap's a very, very interesting, thoughtful person. And when you read the book and you listen to what he tells Harry about, you know, the different stories, Anna, Julie, John, Anne, and how thoughtful he is to spend time with not just Harry, the main subject of the book, but with everybody else. And you think, well, that's part of his job. But I have to tell you a little story. Last year at this time, I was really very tired of US politics and cancer. Kashyap had asked me to speak to the South Carolina Oncology Society at their meeting in Charleston. And I came down and I did that. And I said, Kashyap, after this, I need to take some time off. I need a break. And after the meeting, after I spoke, Kashyap grabbed me, and I had my wife with me, Susan, who was an oncology nurse for 10 years. And he said, I want you to meet me down in the lobby of the hotel. And Kashyap proceeded to pull out and hand me a gift, and it was an iPad. And I said, Kashyap, I have an iPad, you know that. And he said, no, this is an iPad loaded with the great courses. And one of the courses that I want you to promise me to take is on mindfulness. And I said, well, you can transfer them onto my iPad. He said, no, I want this for me. So that iPad is the iPad that I held up, that I read the book from, and I have had its amazing impact of having mindfulness on my life the same way that this book does. So I applaud Kashyap for being not only a great author now, a great oncologist, but a wonderful friend.
Thank you.
Wow. What a heartening story of a relationship and a dialogue between the both of you. Thanks for sharing that, Ted. We have another question for you, and I'm sure our audience here would like to know about how you brought the volunteer force together and share the important work you do in DC, because cancer care is definitely about the caregivers, not just about the treatment and not just about the medical intervention. Particularly in the US Senate, you brought the volunteer force together in the White House and the Congress, including the West Wing, but that's not an easy one. So how did you do that? And how did you get that going?
You know, Sunita, it's just, Kashyap always calls me Coach T. And I like to say that every good coach or reasonably good coach has a great team behind them, and there is a great team on the field. with Kashyap, with Dr. Deborah Pat, with Dr. Barbara McEnany. These are dedicated people. Not only do you see the dedication of the way Kashyap goes to his patients, but anytime I ask him to come up to Capitol Hill, he's there. And really, the Community Oncology Alliance is a grassroots organization. It started when the US Congress was going to change the way they pay for cancer care, and it was going to have devastating results. And I was associated with an oncology practice myself. I'm not a physician, but I'm on the business side. Now I'm on the policy side. And we all came together, and it came up through the grassroots. And it was the grassroots oncologists of the Kashyap Patels and the Deborah Pats and the Barbara McEnany's and the Mike Diaz's and Jeff Viserkas, the Bruce Goulds. I can go down the list. And these are dedicated people, not just to what have to be their own businesses, but these are dedicated people to their patients and being able to stay independent in their practices. So COA is a grassroots organization. It's driven by the team on the field, and it really is an amazing team. I like to say that I've never had a situation where I've said, you know, I don't really like that oncologist. I don't really like that practice administrator. I'm so fortunate because I deal with the board of directors and a group of people that are just really inspiring. Kashyap working with his patients in the Rocky Hill area, Dr. Deborah Pat with her breast cancer patients in the Austin area, and Dr. McEnany with the Navajo population. It's just inspiring. So